I agreed or volunteered to do Read the Beats with JessiKiwi for March. So I have been reading Read the Beats for the last couple weeks based on the songs that JessiKiwi picked for me. If you're not familiar with this series, Jess does this every month where she works with another booktuber and she gives them 3 songs and they give her 3 songs. And the game is to find books to fit those songs. And then she makes a video about the songs that she's given, and the booktuber makes a video about the songs that they're given and the books that they've been reading. So, any luck, this will work. So, here's what Jess sent me.
Hello, Jamie. Welcome to Read the Beats. Thank you so much for being a part of this. I really appreciate it. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what songs you have for me. I know you've already sent them to me, but I haven't watched them because I don't want your songs to influence what I've chosen for you. Okay, so your first song, and you're going to notice a little bit of a theme with 2 of the songs because there's a lot going on in the world, and I feel like there are so many good songs that talk about not only the shit, for lack of a better term, that's going on, but also talk about standing strong and standing together and things like that. And so your first song is quite a classic, but one that's maybe not the first song that you think of when you think of Pink Floyd. And it's definitely in my top 3 of Pink Floyd songs, and that is a song called Hey You. To me, the song, as well as being absolutely fantastic. Also, if you've got noise cancelling headphones for a little bit, listen to the song noise cancelling. But the song to me is a little bit about things that are going wrong around the world and kind of telling people to look within themselves and kind of stand up and fight and know that it's going to be okay. Maybe I'm kind of stretching that a little bit, but that's really what it kind of boils down to me. And having friendships and having relationships where you've got someone close that you can kind of lean on and that someone can hold out their hands and take you.
Okay, so I am very familiar with Pink Floyd. And actually, I have a hard time just thinking of one song when it comes to certain Pink Floyd albums because they all run together in one album. So with Hey You, I always think about the whole story of The Wall, and it's just the song. So let me see what I can come up with for this song. All right. So I found a book that works for me for Hey You, that it also has a sinister element to it, because Hey You to me, it's about people supporting each other, reaching out, finding help. It's also dark. It's definitely not just supporting each other song. It's very much out of the Cold War era and, dire circumstances that you are at rock bottom and need help. So for me, one of the historical eras that really works for me with that vibe is the whole Holocaust story. And this book, We Were the Lucky Ones, is very much about Holocaust. So this will be my book for Hey You. And it's a heavy book, but the title in this one suggests that they survive. The lucky ones. I don't think they mean that like they didn't have to suffer because they died. I think they actually do survive the story. So this will be for Pink Floyd, and it is within the era that gets into kind of the gritty historical stuff that inspired a lot of the songs for Pink Floyd's The Wall album. So, yeah, I will be reading a Holocaust book. Yay. All right, let's see what else we have in this reading challenge.
This is a little bit of a break from a relatively somber and heavy song. It's a musical piece, and it's from a production called Lord of the Dance. Now, the title itself, it keeps saying it's Lord of the Dance. I'm not sure whether that's actually the title of the song, of the piece. And it was really hard to re-find the live version of it, because you type in Lord of the Dance and then you have like all of these other different pieces coming out, because that's the Lord of the Dance is the name of the show. And the composer, I believe, was Ronan Hardman, but it's a Michael Flatley production. When I first saw this, like I had a bit of an obsession with Ireland at the time. And when I first saw this, I was sold entirely. And of all the like Irish dance pieces that I have seen, this is by far the one that has stuck with me the longest, and it is still one of my favorites. I actually prefer this more than I prefer Overdance. I'm going to link kind of two versions, like they're the same. One's just the audio track with the taps, and that's the really important thing is with the tap, it's the hearing of the taps.
Oh boy. I was obsessed with Michael Flatley, Riverdance, and Lord of the Dance when I was in undergrad. I watched a lot of that stuff, like over and over and over again. I can still sing along to all the songs in Riverdance. Lord of the Dance. I also know the Lord of the Dance song from Irish Rovers, where there's actually lyrics that go to the tune. But I'm very familiar with Michael Flatley's Lord of the Dance. And it's such a classic hero versus villain, dark versus light story. It's got to be a book with a hero and a villain. And not only that, my favorite part of the Lord of the Dance production is the evil side's girl. There's a good girl and an evil girl to go with the good guy and the evil guy. And she is so sensual for the fact that they're all doing Irish dance. It's all, tap dance and not the most seductive of dance styles usually. But she comes out in all this lovely red dress. I totally would love to dress like that if I was doing Irish step dance. And she has this lovely black hair, and she just has this look that's like definitely the evil guy's beautiful girlfriend. And she's got the hots for Michael Flatley's character. So it's very much, the good guy and the bad guy, and the good guy's girlfriend and the bad guy's girlfriend, who kind of wants the good guy. So yeah, a lot of fairy tales, a lot of fantasy follow that structure. So I'll have to see if I can find something that works for that. So let's see. All right. I have an idea. It's not probably exactly the structure of Lord of the Dance as far as the good girl, good guy, bad guy, hero story. But the cover has the vibes of that bad girl dancer. Take this and turn it into an Irish step dance costume, and this would totally be her. And Jess is hosting a Mossverse read along of all of Sarah J. Maas's books. So maybe I finally actually try the series, with the kickoff being the Read the Beats book for Lord of the Dance, because it certainly gives me vibes of that kind of fantasy story, even if the structure doesn't quite hold true. And it's got a chick that would totally be able to play her character in Irish step dance with the dress and the shoes. So I could totally see it. All right, so we have A Court of Thorns and Roses for Lord of the Dance. Let's see what we have for book 3.
Song is a song that actually has just recently come onto the list. It's a good song, but what made it make the list is the fact that there's this Japanese guy, and he started at Cape Reinga, which is the very top of the North Island, and he's actually walked the entirety of New Zealand. Now I think he's still in Queenstown at the moment, or he's just going out of Queenstown, which is like the bottom third of the South Island of New Zealand. But it's just so inspiring that this dude is doing that, and the track that it's playing in the background that he's chosen is Stand By Me by, I believe it's Ben King. There are so many different covers of Stand By Me. It's a very classic song, but the one I'm linking is the one done by the Imagine Dragons. Yeah, the song itself, again, a little bit like the first song. It's kind of motivation, it's friendship, it's kind of putting a hand out and helping someone up. It's basically saying I can conquer anything as long as I have somebody with me who can help me if I need it, and who can be with me through this journey. And it's an incredible song, and it's one that I've listened to since actually kind of following Tomo and his journey. So those are my 3 songs. You've got Hey You by Pink Floyd, Lord of the Dance by Ronan Hardiman and Michael Flatley, and then you've got Stand By Me, performed by Imagine Dragons, but
Okay. All right. So I am actually more familiar with the earlier versions of this third song. So I had to go look up the Imagine Dragons version. And it's good. It's definitely a good cover. So for this one, I was thinking maybe something like that gets into race relations, because this is one of those songs that when it first came out, it was performed by Black performers, and they were kind of allowed into the white performance sphere because they made nice music, but were maybe not allowed to enjoy all of the comforts of, what white performers would experience doing that same performance. And there's so much race stuff built into some of the history of the music for these songs that were initially recorded by Black artists. So that was kind of my thinking. Let me see if I can find something that'll work for this, though. All right, so I found a good book for this third song, because it takes on kind of race relations, what it means to be Black in a multicultural society, but with characters that are moving into the modern era. So we're not just stuck in the past, because with bringing it into a cover by Imagine Dragons, now we're in modern day, and maybe we're aware of the past but need to be focused on the future. So I'm not sure how all that works out with this book, but I think it'll work. So I picked Jacqueline Woodson, Another Brooklyn. So this one is about a girl growing up in the 1970s in Brooklyn. She and her friends are Black, but they're not of the same socioeconomic background. So it's a coming of age story about girls growing up as Black girls and Black women in Brooklyn. And they definitely lean on each other. They definitely support each other. Um, it seems very much like a book that's looking at how that support influences their lives. So I think it'll work. So I think that's going to be my 3 books. Let's see. So here we have them, the Read the Beats books. We have Georgia Hunter, We Were the Lucky Ones, for Hey You by Pink Floyd. We have A Court of Thorns and Roses for the Lord of the Dance as rendered for the Michael Flatley performance, of course. And then Jacqueline Woodson, Another Brooklyn, for Lean on Me as performed by Imagine Dragons. So there's our books. Now we'll see how they work out for these songs. All right. So I've finished 2 of the 3 books. I'm still working on Another Brooklyn, but I finished Court of Thorns and Roses as an audiobook because that's a lot of eyeball reading, and I was getting really annoyed at the main character. She's such a teenager. She might fit in very well with the dance troupe, but oh my gosh, no. So I finished it by putting it on audio and just doing crochet and dishes and things while listening. So I did finish the first Sarah J. Maas book, and I will be continuing. But this one's done. Yay. I thought about stretching it out a little bit and trying to do some reactions partway through, but I'm just like, I just want to get it done. It needs to go away. So Read the Beats has made me actually tackle this author. Yay. The main character is very much a teenager. She's a spoiled teenager. So I'm not sure if our Lord of the Dance would want her all that much. Although the equivalent of the Lord of the Dance in the book, this elf guy, certainly seems to think that she's pretty great. So maybe. And she's definitely not the bad chick. So I don't know if there's a bad chick yet in this series. But I'm watching for one because it is that kind of fantasy series where you could imagine that if there's a bad guy, there's got to be his consort. And I haven't met that yet. And maybe that's something I'll meet in later books in the series. But it's definitely the right vibes for the right kind of fantasy for Lord of the Dance. And the cover still is the right colors. And just the red and the black and yeah. So imagine that. Turn it into an Irish dance dress. Yeah. So it still fits for that. But yeah, it worked. And it got me through the book. So yay. And then I also did find the audiobook for We Were the Lucky Ones, but then I ended up reading at least half of it with eyeballs anyway. It's really good. This one is a 5-star book from me. So yeah, really good. It definitely hits the dark, dangerous history sort of elements that I and Jess both zeroed in on with Hey You. There's dark stuff going on. But yeah, it doesn't mean that everybody just dies. And people do survive and they figure out how to keep going. And there is life after the bad stuff. And a lot of that comes from being willing and able to ask for help, which is like the positive spin on that song that Jess seemed very much focused on. I tend to focus more on the gloomy, kind of creepy elements of that song, but it worked very well, keeping in mind that we want a happy ending. That it's not just gloomy, it's not just creepy. Um, so that was good. Definitely recommend. Now I just have to finish Jacqueline Woodson, and am done with my 3 books. So I will check back with you when I finish Jacqueline Woodson. All right, so I finished my 3rd book. This one's pretty good. I'm not sure it's more of a 5-star or more of a 4-star. I think it leans 4-star for me. But it's still really good, and it's still something I would recommend. So this one is about a couple girls from different backgrounds. They're all Black girls growing up in Brooklyn in the 70s. So this is after the civil rights movement, but there's still a lot of that stuff going on. And there's definitely some division between the girls from wealthier families or more aspiring to be wealthy families and girls from families that have single parents or have other things that are keeping them from being able to aspire as high. And so at some point the main character actually is being excluded from her friend's home because the parents don't want their daughter to be influenced by these low class girls. But then the girl ends up living with one of these low class girls and her mother when stuff happens and she doesn't want to stay at home. So even though there's all these divisions, the friendship between these girls is what allows most of them to survive and succeed. But there's still things that their friendship can't weather, that sometimes it's just too much and they don't survive. So there is some of that in here as well. For the size of this book, this is not a fat book, but it takes on a lot of different life experiences all in this very short book, and does it really well. It's not going into depth because it's not a fat book, but it's definitely about friendship and about getting through things because you have someone you can lean on. So it works really well for Lean On Me. So, and I'm done with all 3 of my books for Read the Beats. So, here are the books. They are done. And I enjoyed them. I didn't have any terrible ones. And even A Court of Thorns and Roses, ACOTAR, it's still good. It's just, I would have enjoyed it so much more if I'd read it when I was like 16. But when I was 16, it wasn't out yet. So that wasn't possible. But aside from that, it appeals more to a younger reader, I think. But the story itself is all right. I love the world building. The main chick is just super annoying, and I hope she gets better, but she didn't get much better by the end of the book. So I'm not holding my breath about her getting better in book 2, but I'll read it. So, thank you, Jess, for inviting me to take part in this. It's been fun. I look forward to seeing what you came up with for the songs I sent you. And yeah, this has been fun. And it's also gotten me looking at my music a bit more, because when you have to pick 3 songs to send somebody, how do you choose? They're all so pretty. And I used to be a music blogger, so now I'm thinking, well, maybe I should do some more music on my channel. Like, not actually playing music necessarily, copyrights are awkward, but just talking about great music in my videos more. Because I used to talk about music a lot. I was a music blogger. That was my thing for about 3 years. And there's got to be ways to incorporate that into my channel, even without playing actual music in my videos that would be violating copyrights or things like that. So it's got the wheels turning, and we'll see what comes of it later. But it's been fun. And I'm going to sign off. If you haven't watched Jess's video yet, you definitely need to watch that. And she has a whole playlist of the videos from this project. She's been doing this for a long time. So there's a lot of videos for Read the Beats now, and they're all pretty cool. So check those out on her channel. I will put her information in the description so that you can find her channel, and I'll try and put the link for that playlist as well. But yeah, I'm gonna sign off now and probably go listen to some music. But talk to you guys later. Happy reading.